Ever had something go down the wrong pipe when you're talking?
Oh, never.
Happened to me just a few minutes ago. That's why I'm joking. All right, so Zath, if you are there, this is blocky graphics. It's kind of wonky, a little bit harder to control, and also, do you stream? Let's do your shout out real quick. Let's find out. Do you stream? Oh, enter. Okay, well, so it looks like not, but we gave you a shout out anyway because we shout out people in this channel, and even the people who don't stream, we just give them a good, hey, we see you. I hope you're doing well, kind of thing. All right, let's move on. So this time we get to play as Grace.
I like all these old French antiques.
As we start out the game today, we're playing as Grace, my helper, kind of my investigator.
Looks like something you'd see in Palm Springs.
And let's go look at this.
That would be right over Gabriel's bed.
Oh, see, there's where Gabriel slept.
He looks so harmless when he's asleep, doesn't he?
And he's probably tired. All he did was walk around that first day. Just continue.
That's a dumb waiter. Some of the old hotels in New York have them.
See, there she at least mentions what it is.
Yeah.
Gabriel doesn't tell you it's a dumb waiter.
Yeah. Oh, for her, the gum waiter is actually open, too.
No, yeah, I mean, you can open it.
I think that goes to Mr. Baza's room.
Okay, so I don't think at this particular junction of the game she can do a whole lot. So now it's probably her books, right?
I like all these old French antiques. Our stuff. I brought it down from Prince James's house. Our stuff. I brought it down from Prince James's house.
Okay, so right now it just clicks on our stuff. I brought it down, so it's obvious that that's once again something we can't do a whole lot with.
I imagine you could have left the hanger in there.
If you get back in.
I'm
Because we
wondering if she
didn't
was
use the
like
hanger
something.
for anything.
Not
yet.
Tape was.
The tape was, but the hanger, we didn't do anything with it.
Jump! Oh, wait, don't.
Oh, I can't do anything with that either. She can't go out unless she can go out. And there's nothing to step on, so what's she gonna do? She'll be on the roof?
Well.
And how's that going to help? That's the whole thing is, how is that going to help her solve a kidnapping? Because it's not even a... Whoa. It's not even...
Look at that one.
I already did. She said it figures that Gabriel... It's sleeping right above Gabriel.
That
See?
would be right over Gabriel's bed.
Right. Hey, it's French. It's French art.
Oh, the bed's pretty comfortable. Those are great for reading in bed.
There's a little...
Is there anything to do in this room?
Look to the right. There's a little desk over in the corner.
Ah, my computer.
I'm
We're
sure
going to
glad I
do a
got that
research
laptop.
on vampires. Yeah, you can get us over there.
And then you have stuff over here.
Huh, I got 2 fingerprint kits. Gabriel's not gonna have all the fun on this case.
Don't ask for
I
it.
got 2 fingerprint kits. Gabriel's not gonna have all the fun on this case.
Gabriel's the one who's picking up. So let me go and look at
I'm
that.
sure glad I got that laptop.
Looks kind of like an iBook, but that one won't come out for another couple of years.
Yeah.
New email.
All right, got a new email.
Click on email.
Wow, I can hardly see it. Grace, your father had a wonderful idea. We're going to send you an early birthday present, tickets to fly home. How's next month sound? I met the nicest boy at the Japanese Culture Center. His name is Ryan Moroshi, and I gave him your email. Hope you don't mind. Before you start, he's very nice looking, and he's an electrical engineer. He works for IBM in Manhattan, and I'm telling you, the girls at the center are quite interested. But I showed him your picture and told him all about you, and you know, I can make you sound good. Mrs. Willis's daughter is traveling to Europe in a year or two. She's pretty but spoiled, and her parents are paying for the trip because she got accepted to Harvard Law School. At least she's a good daughter. So now that we paid for this new email account every month, you can't just write to your mother. Let me know right away about the trip. The second week of July works best because we have theater tickets before and after. We can drive over to Yale and look up some of your school friends and maybe talk to that Professor Barkley. Love, Mom. Great. Grace, my name is Ryan Moroshi. Your mother gave me your email address. She says you're taking a European sabbatical. Sounds great. I wish I could get away. I graduated with my MC.
Master's in Electrical Engineering.
Yeah. 2 years ago and went to work for IBM 2 weeks later, and you know how school loans can be.
Well, aren't you lucky you got a job 2 weeks later?
Seriously.
Bastard.
Seriously.
I hate him.
Seriously. Anyway, your mother says that you're coming home in a few weeks, and so maybe we can get together. She made you sound pretty interesting. People think I'm interesting too. Wow, great. That's it. Dear Grace, of course you're welcome to join us at any time, even if your partner does not choose to do so. I sense that you feel tied to your current situation, but perhaps without a clear understanding why. Love and loyalty are precious gifts, but they must be free and open, not sources of resentment or restraint. Destiny can also be a heavy weight, and I sense your destiny is a deep one. Sometimes we must wait for an event in which we are about to participate before we can move on. So let the thought give you patience. If you feel the path blocked beyond your ability to influence, you may need fate to find a detour. Remember, we cannot control others, our choices being to each alone. I can feel you clearly, sweetly across the long miles. I know you will find your way. I only hope our paths cross before we're both too old and wise to learn from each other. Your friend, Chadrell. Okay. So.
Oh, you can even reply and stuff. Yeah.
Can reply?
I want to write back, but I need to think about what I'm going to say.
Yeah. Go to the other ones and see if you can respond. Respond to Mom. Mom, get off my back.
No, thank you.
Okay. Mom sounds like a joke. Do Ryan's.
I really don't want to get the guy's hopes up.
We're July 3rd, 1998.
Oh, yeah, and she said, wait, go back. When did Mom say, like, second week or something?
Oh, yeah, it's just coming in now,
So,
but
yeah.
July
was-
1st. She wrote in July 1st.
Wait, but scroll down.
She said second week of July. Second week of July. It's a week later.
Yeah, it's like,
Doesn't give you any time. It said next month. Send you an early fly home. How's next month sound? Okay, so maybe they weren't planning you. We're going to sit there and actually digest and read this thing a little bit more. But All right.
Okay, search.
Search.
Jane Jensen.
And have you put your subjects not found. Oh, kind of cheesy. Oh, wait a minute. You know what? Hold on. I find the game. Click on it. Okay. Now the mouse is no longer dragging across the screen while you're working. Some people were saying they found that. No, it's not doing anything. Yeah, it's
Tell
doing
me
it in the
about
stream.
voodoo.
No, it didn't. Hold on. It's supposed to not show the mouse cursor. And it's doing it anyway. Alright, whatever. Okay. I can't do any help about that. I did just click it off and it didn't work. So, okay, voodoo. Go ahead. If you're going to click on it, you better read it.
Practice voodoo is national religion in Haiti and also in the United States. Legitimate voodoo worship is permitted. It's basically a form of spiritualism in which gods are invoked to take possession of the priests, protect the worshippers, and perform feats of divination and magic. African tribal religions from which voodoo stems, illness and misfortune are considered involving hostility, neighbors, blah, 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 priests, blah, 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 blah. Neutralize it.
Vampires. We're supposed to be looking up vampires.
Holy Grail.
And Holy Grail. The original and most famous story of the Grail is the Wolfenbeck classic Percival.
You need your glasses.
I think those. Even if I put them on, I think I'm not gonna be able to see it because of the distance. Yeah. It's how small the screen is right now.
Okay, something's bizarre. I mean, if I can read it, and I'm half blind.
Percival, King. I get glare. Percival, in the story, the king of King Arthur's court, rides out in search of the legendary Holy Grail. He comes to a mysterious castle and is invited inside, and there he meets the Fisher King. The Fisher King suffers from a terrible wound in his thigh. Because of this infirmity, both the castle and the kingdom have fallen into disrepair and sorrow. Percival is invited to stay for a banquet. He witnesses a procession.
The castle anthrax.
First, a squire with a bleeding lance enters. Next, 2 squires and carrying 10 branch candlesticks, and then comes the damsel with the Grail. Unfortunately, Percival fails to ask the critical question: what is the Grail and whom does it serve? Because he does not ask, he loses his chance to access the Grail and to heal the Fisher King and his land. Later in the story, Percival rectifies his error and wins the Grail by virtue of his pure heart. Many other authors have written of the Grail. It is said in various accounts to be a chalice, a stone, a platter. Some authors claim it is guarded by the knights in the underground cavern, and others claim that it was a cup purchased by Joseph of Arimathea for the Last Supper, and later used by him at the crucifixion to capture the blood of Christ. And some believe those who drink from the cup achieve immortality. Okay, so let's search. Let's search on Templars. The Knights Templar was a chivalrous order in the Middle Ages. The order began in 1118 during the Crusades, when Hugh de Paynes and 8 companions made a sacred vow to protect pilgrims from attack while they journeyed by the Holy Land to the Holy Land. The King of Jerusalem granted knighthood to the order and gave them lodgings in the Al-Aqsa Mosque, which was built on the ancient site of the Temple of Solomon. The order grew in power and wealth as they began to be involved in a kind of banking system. In 1307, King Philip IV of France and used fabricated charges of heresy against the order in order to seize their lands and wealth. Through the trial, the order was abandoned, and some Templars, such as the Grand Master Jacques de Molay, were executed. A number of modern esoteric groups, including Freemasons, claim descent from the Knights Templar. So now click on Freemasons. Freemasons are one of the largest esoteric societies, rivaled by the Rosicrucians. Part of this popularity has been its development as a men's club, a place of privilege and fellowship. But the rites and the history of Freemasonry remain enshrouded in esoteric, however modern, even naive, its adherents. Freemasons claim spiritual descendancy from Hiram Aleph, the architect in the Temple of Solomon. The legend goes that Hiram, in Egyptian, was a master mason. He and King Solomon himself were the only master masons on the project. Master masons supposedly knew secret mysteries involving numbers, measures, geometry, and the magical formula hidden within these sciences.
Geometry.
4 lower masons working on the temple began to envy and covet this knowledge. Instead of working to become master masons, they decided to steal the knowledge. Late one night, each of the 4 hid outside the different temple exits, north, east, south, and west. When Hiram emerged at the first exit, the lower mason demanded his secrets. Hiram refused and was dealt a death blow. But he survived and stumbled back into the temple. He tried to escape by another entrance and was once more stopped. When he refused the second mason, another lethal blow was struck, and once more he retreated. This happened 2 more times at the other 2 exits from the temple, and finally Hiram succumbed and died. Vignettes from the story are still played out in Masonic lodges throughout the world. The death and the resurrection of the candidates signifies their death to old life and the start of the new life in their secret knowledge of the Masons. The theme of the architectural masonry continues throughout Freemason rites and symbols. Some scholars believe the Freemasons are descended from stonemason guilds of the Middle Ages, but Freemasons themselves claim an older and more unknowable heritage, descendancy from the Knights Templar. This may have some legitimacy inside Freemasonry was born in Scotland, and the oldest group is Scottish. Right, and some Templars did flee to Scotland during their persecution.
Look up Temple of Solomon.
Go ahead and type it.
Where the source is. Eager archives.
The legendary temple was built in Jerusalem around 950 BC at the initiation of King Solomon and remained the centerpiece of Jewish faith until it was destroyed by the Romans. It is said to be based on the Egyptian temple design, and this may be true, for the Bible readily admits that the chief architect was loaned to Solomon by an Egyptian pharaoh. The temple layout was given to Solomon by God as related in 2 Chronicles 3rd chapter. The length was 120 cubits and the width 30 cubits, thus giving it a 4 by 4:1 long rectangular shape. The temple has become a living symbol for several occult groups. To the alchemists, being in the temple represents a state of mind, a place of mystical reflection and knowledge. The Freemasons have adopted the temple as a keystone of their ritual, their philosophy, and even their physical layout of their lodges. The idea of rebuilding the Temple of Solomon has been stated goal with a full range of interpretations from spiritual to literal of many ethnic and esoterical occult groups throughout the ages. The original Temple of Solomon in Jerusalem held the greatest treasures of the Jews, including the Ark of the Covenant, the Table of Moses, the famous 10 branches, golden candelabra, and the sacred records and writings of the Jewish people. Okay, so
Did you do the floor plan?
no.
Well, click on it.
Why?
Because it's highlighted.
I
Just
hope
because
the
it's
lid comes
highlights
up
cannot be
soon.
retrieved.
Think that.
Just because it's highlighted doesn't mean that it's something that we always have to look at.
Well, yeah, it does. Let's see. Second. Was it Second Chronicles?
Yes. Vampires. Trying to stay a little focused. Vampires. Vampirism is the act of stealing and drinking another's blood. There are creatures which drain a psychic energy instead of blood, and one might argue that these creatures are vampires, but in occult circles, such as being as reference to to succubus, for the purposes
We know one
of
of
this tryst, blood must be involved. The type of vampires, these type of vampires can be distinguished by their purpose in seeking in the blood. There are three basic categories. Vampires who use the blood for sustenance, vampires who use the blood to steal attributes, and vampires who use the blood to gain power over the host. The vampires who require blood for sustenance can be distinguished by their purpose in seeking the blood. Oh, hold on. Who require for substance. For some creatures, blood is the only viable source of nutrition. Like mosquitoes or leeches, they survive off the blood of the living. All blood-drinking creatures are creatures of darkness. These include demons and monsters. Many traditional vampire cases, such as Hungary, Yugoslavia, Transylvania, can be regarded as demonic possession of the dead. Fortunately, this form of Sibylline entertainment seems to be dying out these days, perhaps because demons do not care for embalming fluid. While such possession occurs, living blood is required to not only nourish the demon, but to keep the corpse from decomposing. Monsters are the result of mixing human and demon blood. Such as creatures are usually, but not necessarily, evil. Due to the usually paternal demon genetics, living blood is required to sustain life. The appearance of monstrosities is increasingly rare. Vampires who consume blood in order to steal attributes. The earliest magical religion believed that by drinking the blood of a man or animal, one took on the being's trait. Many primitives still drink the blood of the bear and the lion for strength, or the antelope and the deer for swiftness. Similarly, some tribes ingest the remains of their dead in order to retain their skills or spirits for the tribe. Western magicians have been known to consume the blood of humans to steal the host's talent, wisdom, youth, or vitality. The hermetic principles behind this practice bear remarkable correspondence to modern DNA theories. Vampires use blood to gain power over the host. The blood is closely associated with the person's spirit or essence in many magical traditions. Because of this connection, some rituals involve stealing and using the blood in a manner similar to the way that the hair and nail clippings are used in voodoos to gain control over the subjects. So we have blood cult. From the diary of the English adept Rosencline, I have heard it whispered in the highest magical circles that a cult exists whose secrecy goes even beyond the impenetrable nine. This cult practices black magic, and in particular a kind of blood magic. Thus have obscure but pernicious rumors surfaced about the existence of a blood cult, a group whose magic revolves around the properties of blood. Some rumors claim this group is searching for immortality or heightened magical power through the manipulation of their blood by magic rite. Interbreeding, even inhibiting the blood of others with the desired power or properties. And then there was also succubus, supernatural creatures who visit the victim through sexual dreams. Before Freud, disturbing sexual dreams were often thought to be the work of demons, come to tempt the devout Christian to sin. The bearer of such dreams were succubi and incubi, female and male demons respectively, who were sexually insatiable and would rape their victims via sexual dreams while they slept. As fun as this might sound, it could be a terrifying experience for those who believed in such things. It was believed that a visit from a succubus or an incubus would drain energy, even life, from its victim. It was a very common form of demonic possession. Elizabeth of Bathory is the historical figure that, compared to Jack the Ripper and Dracula, no small feat. Obsessed with remaining beautiful, Elizabeth invented a unique anti-aging formula, bathing in the blood of young virgins. She killed and tortured something like 600 girls, according to the records, before she was finally arrested for her crimes. Like her servants were burned at the stake for their part in the dire deeds. But Elizabeth was walled up alive in the Bathory castle.
Immortation, yeah.
Wow. And finally, immortality. Immortality, or living forever, has been an age-old quest of mankind. Ever since man realized that he, like his father before him, would one day die, the quest to escape that sentence has been on and has been fraught with desperation and little success. Many religions seek to assure their followers of life beyond death, that is, the continuing life of the spirit, either through destiny in heaven or hell, or through reincarnation back onto the earthly plane. The goal of many occult traditions has been to look for immortality in here, to, and now, and trusting in the promises of the spirit world. Alchemists sought to create the Philosopher's Stone in order to achieve immortality. Others sought the Fountain of Youth or the Tree of Life from the Garden of Eden. And in the case of the latter two, it was said that a drink or a single fruit would produce immortality. In the story of the Grail, the knight who protected the Grail was granted immortality as long as he remained in its presence. There are legends regarding immortals, men or women who have achieved immortality, who continue to walk the earth long after the biological time has passed. And so now we can see some other things. What else? What else do we need to do here to move this on? We've looked at vampires. We've read about the Grail. What other thing did Gabriel ask us to research? That was it, right?
No, I mean, click on any of those other things like Alchemist or Philosopher's Stone. The thing that was interesting, I think the first Harry Potter book was Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. But then they renamed it to the Sorcerer's Stone for U.S. markets for some bizarre reason.
U.S. markets didn't know the meaning of the Philosopher's Stone.
Why bother changing it?
Maybe because they didn't want to be. They didn't want it totally to be so obvious. Because
wasn't also the idea was even be able to change like lead into gold or something too,
but that wasn't what Voldemort wanted it for. He wanted it so he could live forever, and then he could attack. He would basically come back in a human form that would have immortality and would live forever.
So this is interesting. So it was talking about the Temple of Solomon and the size, and so this new King version, King James version, thank you, is talking about the size of things in cubits. So say after the first measure was 70 cubits, so like 60 cubits, and the breadth 20 cubits.
What's a cubit? I serious to this day, I don't know what a cubit is.
Right.
Siri, is there a way? What?
Oh. Hey Siri, what's a cubit?
Hey Siri, what's a cubit?
A cubit is an ancient unit of length that had several definitions according to each of the various cultures that used the unit. Would you like to hear more?
Typically range
Yes.
between 44 and 50.
These definitions typically range between 444 and 529.2 millimeters, with an ancient Roman cubit being as long as 120 centimeters. The shorter unit, common cubit, was based on the forearm length from the tip of the middle finger to the bottom of the elbow, and was divided as 6 palms x 4 fingers equals 24 digits. Royal cubits added a palm for 7 palms x 4 fingers equals 28 digits.
Thank you.
Anyway, so this Good News Bible version
Yeah.
gives some different values. Instead of saying these cubits, it said, okay, King's, wait, no, sorry, wrong one. It said the temple which King Solomon built was 90 feet long and 30 feet wide. The temple room was the full width of the temple, 30 feet, and the height was 180 feet high. So, it's kind of interesting. This one that kind of does it in more modern
Today's
sizes.
English.
Yeah.
So it's trying to make it so it's a little bit more understandable. And people would say, what's a hexacubic? I wouldn't know what a cubit is.
Yeah.
I certainly wouldn't know how to measure it.
Wasn't that from the?
It's a joke, but
Yeah.
alchemy is the ancient art especially practiced in the Middle Ages primarily to discover the substance that would transmute common or base metals into gold and silver, and to find a means of definitely prolonging human life. Even though original purpose and techniques have been doubtful and visionary, alchemy was the predecessor to modern chemistry. The ancient practice dates back to Egypt and its flourishing in Alexandria at the time a school of alchemy was developed in China. The early Greek philosophers wrote the first chemical theories, and the theory advanced from Empedocles in the 5th century BC that all things are composed of air, earth, fire, and water, are greatly influenced by alchemy. Roman emperors seem to have mixed feelings about the practice. Caligula is alleged to have ordered experiments performed attempting to produce gold from orgeat, a sulfide of arsenic, while Diocletian said to have ordered all the Egyptian work concerning silver and gold to be burned, where all such experiments stopped. The fundamental basis on which alchemy tests is Aristotle's doctrine that things tend to reach perfection. This led to the theory that gold found deep within the earth had naturally been produced from less perfect metals. The alchemist's hopes was then to discover the secret of the natural process and to duplicate it. The original attempts for achieving such feat were both empirical and practical, but towards the 4th century, astrological and magical influences were becoming more dominant. But in the 13th century, the practice of alchemy took on almost a religious fervor. The skilled alchemist not only went through rigorous apprenticeship, but also solemn ceremony on the completion of his training. This is seen by the influences of Neoplatonism, magic, astrology, mysticism, medicine, the esoteric doctrines of the Near East. The Pythagoreanism and the Orphic, which were eventually embodied in alchemy, by their strict practices and their searches for the philosopher's stones, the true alchemists endeavored to refresh and restore the earth. Because of the spiritual aspect, alchemy is still valued by many today. And I am not going to read all about this alchemy stuff.
What, not the square, not the circle?
No.
These are going to be very important later on when you have to do your geometry lessons.
Well, then do them later. Mysticism is the overwhelming feeling or a sense of being in complete unity or oneness with a deity or a cosmos. In the religious sense, it is a feeling of oneness with God. In paganism, it means the feeling of complete unity with a deity. In witchcraft, it is a feeling of unity with a goddess, God, and nature. It can also be a sense of mystical knowledge. Dionysus the Areopagite was the first to introduce the concept unknown, unknowing to the Western world. In the areas of the occult and the psychic, it denotes an additional domain of esoteric knowledge and paranormal communication. So I look through here and see
We don't
if they
have any
any
files for this case yet, but as Gabriel and I find stuff, we can scan it in.
Okay. Analyze. That's fingerprints, probably.
Oh, probably something like that.
And since we don't have anything to analyze, it's kind of hard to analyze. Translate, you can translate. So that, so if we can get Gabriel to give us that recording, we might be able to use that to translate what was said by the Abbé.
Oh, that's a good idea.
And so add data. I don't
have anything to
think
scan
we have
yet,
anything.
but Sydney can handle fingerprints, license plates, Gabriel's tapes, text, and visual images. Pretty cool.
And we can make an ID for whatever we need to be. If we need to be a doctor, for example, then we can make an
Can you
ID.
click on the doctor?
You really can't change that. You can only print.
Okay.
So they maybe at one time they made an ID. You could medical, reporter, repair, sales, police.
Oh, okay. See, there you go.
So you could change the to
Night Protection Service.
encyclopedia salesman. Just wanted to point that out. Okay.
P.O. Box. Investment that lasts a lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
Well.
Didn't last past 2000 and some, because I don't think you can really even go and buy encyclopedias. If you can, there's certainly not no one selling them door to door like they used to. Even when I was a kid, they used to sell them door to door. So anyway, so that's Sydney, and that is the Schottenjäger Informational Database, and we'll be using that a lot of this game. So to go back here now that we've looked at Cindy, is it time to wake up Gabriel?
Take a look at that picture on your laptop.
Shadrel Gyatso runs a monastery for training Schottenjäger monks. His mind is amazing. I would love to go spend a few months there.
So this is where she wants to go. Shadrel is the guy that sent her the email and said even if you're the other person who's assisting you doesn't want to come, you're invited to come to this monastery and to learn all about being a Schottenjäger. And she's not a Schottenjäger. The Schottenjäger is Gabriel Knight. She's an assistant, though. I really don't see much more to do in this room. I mean, I guess we could attempt to get into the bathroom.
In this painting, it's called Abraham being punked
That's
by
mine.
God. Hey, sacrifice your son.
I already have my face on, believe it or not. Oh, they look kind of cute side by side like that.
What?
Toothbrush, I think.
He's trying.
Right there, toothbrush. Trying to get a little closer to see. Here's a shaver.
Oh, they look kind of cute side by side like that.
Gabriel's bag.
I can't see how he fits his hair products in there. His hairspray alone is twice that size. No, I don't think I'll be needing that.
Take his toothbrush.
No, I don't see any sign of prints.
Well, now she can kind of look at things like prints and stuff.
Okay, there. Oh, okay, yeah.
I already did that this morning. No, I don't see any sign of Prince.
So now it's print signing time.
So maybe go down and like get prints of people
I already
like
did that
eating
this morning.
their meals or something.
Gabriel will just have to live without his special hair washing nozzle for a while.
He's still fast asleep, so I don't know if that's what she's going to say, is that he's still asleep, leave him sleeping, or... Because I imagine we're going to play Grace for a little while. Unless it is just to look at Sydney.
Or if you're gonna look at Run Le Chateau. He's like, okay, she has to walk over.
Don't get me started. I think I'll let him sleep. He's not going on the tour this morning anyway. Besides, he and Mosley had a few last night. He looks so harmless when he's asleep, doesn't he? Why would I want to show that to him? He looks so harmless when he's asleep, doesn't he?
Alright, so my guess is that Grace is going down. She's now the one who's going to be wandering around inside the inside the bathroom. I thought we were going out to the into the hotel, but I guess we're going in the bath. What are you doing with your hand? Good Lord.
Gee, I wish they'd left more of those. From what Gerda tells me, Gabriel can go through 3 a day all by himself.
Well, they were skimping on the towels then, huh? Alright, let's try to get out. It's this door I want to click on. Is that locking the door?
I'd prefer to leave the lock on. There's a lock on the door. Most hotels have them.
Okay, so we're gonna head on out. First thing first, let's go bother Mosley. See if he's awake. Mosley, are you awake? You never know, though. He might have actually,
He's probably asleep. We've got some time yet. It's Mosley's room. No, I don't see any sign of Prince.
How about on the handle of the doorknob?
No, I don't see any sign of Prince.
So I think what we have to do is we have to get fingerprints of everyone in the hotel. At least the suspects. Somebody stole the baby. Let's go look at this dude, and then let's try to talk to him.
Bonjour, mademoiselle. Welcome to Rennes le Château. I am afraid we do not have the free room at the moment.
Yeah, I know. I heard you were booked. It's all right. I'm staying in Mr. Knight's room.
Ah, I feel so silly, mademoiselle. I did not know.
I would charge extra
see,
for it.
We work together, and the couch in the room is really large enough, and... Well, yeah, I prefer my own room, naturally, but there isn't one, so I...
Say no more, mademoiselle. Jean is the picture of discretion.
Fine.
Great. No, okay, hold on. That was,
It's Jean. He's discreet.
is Jean. He's being the picture of discretion.
Why would I want to show that to him?
Okay, so he isn't just showing that to him. That... Alright, well, we're going to have to hope that there's a reason. Maybe this table... We wouldn't even know how many people have
I
sat
really don't
there.
have time. No, I don't see any sign of Prince.
And why wouldn't you see signs of Prince? Maybe they don't. Maybe they clean them faster or something
I don't
like
see
that.
any sign of Prince.
Dining room.
Not yet. Let me take a piece of candy. You want a piece of candy, Grace?
Oh, that stuff rots your teeth. Fat free, though. I have to watch my girlish figure. Not that anybody notices.
Oh, I'm sure Gabriel does.
Well, he notices. He just doesn't choose to do anything about it right yet. All right, let's go. Besides, I think the other one, Madeline, is much more
Gerda?
interesting. Madeline.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah.
All right, so we got this guy. This guy is Mosley.
No, that's
No,
Bocelli.
that's
Looks like they're
Bercelli.
trying to get breakfast in before the tour. I can talk to them later on the tour. They're eating right now.
Get some breakfast.
Probably. I don't know.
Well, they changed their clothes.
It looks like they're trying to get breakfast in before the tour. I can talk to them later on the tour. They're eating right now. I don't need to show her that. Hi, are you Madeline Bouthane?
I am.
I'm Grace Nakamura, a friend of Mosley's. I'd like to join your tour.
Haven't I already had this conversation? It was more interesting the first time.
You must be talking about Gabriel.
Yes, much more interesting.
You told him it would be 2,000 francs.
For him. For you, it is 3,000.
Wow.
The tour leaves at 9. If you decide to come along, bring a check.
Sure. Fine. Thank you so much.
So she doesn't like women.
Or the competition.
That must be local stoneware. Probably antique. No, I don't see any sign of prints.
Take a look at Madeline.
I don't need to show her that. Is it just me, or is she seriously irritating?
Was she seriously mad at Gabriel? She had. Well, at least she's by herself. She's not.
Maybe later. Well, it's not exactly full service, but the food smells good. No. They're syrup packages. Funny. I never looked like that when I took dance classes. Somebody really likes impressionist art. Male bonding. Am I nuts, or does that look like a man in drag? Alright, so I've seen La Cage aux Folles way too many times.
That is.
You know what La Cage aux Folles is? Nathan Lane, Robin Williams.
The birdcage.
Kind of like that, yeah.
What is that? Pepperoni?
Mm-mm. Mango.
Okay.
Like fruit strips. Only healthier for you than the kind you eat. Alright. Well, I'm thinking that she's going to wander around Rene de Chateau.
Yeah, maybe talk to that dude.
I already talked to him.
Okay.
He said discretion is his middle name or whatever.
I wonder who's driving the van. No, I don't see any sign of prints.
What about this guy?
Baza.
So once again, I have a hard time believing he's involved.
That's Emilio Baza. I met him briefly last night. Looks like he's enjoying the sun. I'll wait and talk to him on the tour this morning.
So you want to talk to Annie?
Why would I want to show that to him? Gabriel thinks Emilio's a suspect, but he looks harmless to me.
Okay. Does she actually go wandering around Rene de Chateau? Because the tour is not going to start unless Madeline starts the van. So maybe the Abbe is up. She can go look at the church, I suppose.
those burning hearts? Ugh.
The Sacred Heart, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can't see into it from here.
She can translate, I think.
Villa Bethania, built by Saunier in 1901 through 1905. I think it says he lived here until his death. It's a private property sign. Interesting. It doesn't look like anybody's living here at the moment.
Yeah.
I don't think I can go in there.
Quite a jump. So even according to what I'm
No, I
finding
don't see any sign
for
of prints.
converting French francs to American dollars in 1999, the 1 franc was converted to about 15 to 16 cents. So 3,000 francs would be about $500, but 2,000
I wonder if
francs
anybody's
would
at
be
home
about
around here.
$33.
Maybe they all leave when there's a tour group in town. No, I don't see any sign of prints. That must be the Tour Magdala the signs were pointing out.
Morning, kitty. Hi. Hello.
How are you feeling?
They probably dug these up during construction and decided just to leave them here.
You back to eating granola and broken glass and rusty nails?
She actually had an allergic reaction to the medicine that they had given her for the painkiller. So she ended up having to get some antibiotics and stuff like that. Yeah. So when she was saying she was hurting last week, she still had infection going on. And not getting it treated.
You're gonna go up on the tour onto the Tour Magdala.
Oh, get in there. Or is this the place that Gabriel keeps going with the matching curtains? And oh yeah, okay.
Stairquest.
She doesn't have binoculars, so she's not going to see anything significant. I don't think. Ah, the Abbey.
I wonder who that is.
Pick his pocket.
Excuse me.
Oh, bonjour.
Bonjour.
This place is open to the public, isn't it?
Of course, I was just taking my morning walk. The bird watching in this area is superb.
Oh,
Is that what
the
they
birds.
call
yeah,
it
the
now?
scenery's not bad either. Are you with the tour group?
No, I'm Abbé Arnaud, curator of the church. And yourself, mademoiselle?
Oh, I'm with the tour. That is, I will be after this morning. We're taking a tour of the valley.
Ah, quelle chance. I was just thinking that I would like to take a drive, but my car is a miserable beast.
Well, you'll have to ask Madeleine Bouthane if you want to go with us. She's the tour group leader.
Ah, Miss Butane, of course. Yes, I believe she would make room for me. Thank you for the suggestion, Miss...
Nakamura.
Yes, thank you, Miss Nakimura. I hope to see you later.
How's it going? It's going good for us. You know, we're just moving on the story of Gabriel Knight. We were just wondering how you're feeling. Chad didn't know that about the infection that had occurred or your allergic reaction to the pain medicine, how it wasn't helping you to heal. So
He's bird watching.
Bird watching.
Bird. It's the word.
Allergic reaction to antibiotics. Yeah.
That's an interesting structure. It almost looks
Are you
like
starting to feel
a,
better now that you're taking something else?
I don't know what the heck it looks like.
tongue was swelling up a lot. Apparently, it's giving me moderate to severe dry mouth, so I stopped it yesterday. And called the dentist tomorrow. So you're not taking anything alternatively. You're just stop the medicine, which is probably for the best. There's nothing else, right?
I don't think so.
Just just Tylenol if there's pain. Well, hopefully there's not a lot of that
Yeah.
going on.
When I had my wisdom teeth taken out, I was given codeine and large Tylenol pills. And fortunately, I never even needed the codeine. I just took the Tylenol pills during the day because it just, my jaw felt sore as if I chewed a very large wad of gum for too long. And that was about the worst. Now, actually, the worst thing I had was they knocked me out when I had my wisdom teeth taken out, so my arm was bruised for 3 weeks afterwards.
I was on codeine for the first few days.
Yeah.
And it's like I was saying last week, some people have a different tolerance for pain.
Yeah, I didn't want to be
Get away.
awake. I didn't want to be awake during it.
It's not a very big town, but it's still bigger
No, I've
than
done both.
Witherspoon.
I've been asleep and I've been awake, and it's not. And the wake is by far the worst.
Yeah. I mean, unless I can get through it like real fast, but even
No,
still,
I
I
don't
just
see any sign of
don't want to
twins.
remember somebody yanking in my head.
Okay, can you control at least this part so I can?
There's mild pain in the jaw still, but I think it was a mild infection, but it's better than it was when I went for the follow-up.
Which is good because you just cannot. So I might not need to need more antibiotics. I'll just see what the dentist says tomorrow. Well, at least you're going to go get it checked on. You're not just assuming that this is part of the healing process and keep, bearing up and waiting for it to get better. You're being active about it. I don't think it's open yet.
Maybe not. If so, that makes it,
Well, that would tell us the time right now, which we don't know the time.
I think it's between 8 and 9 or
The
something.
tour
at 9
starts
or
at
something.
9, so just a phone
close
call,
at
but
5.
yeah, nothing. There's nothing overly wrong.
Wow. Actually, it says open at 7 a.m.
Really? Wow. So this must be just for
The
Grace.
museum is closed.
The museum is closed, so it's got to be earlier than 7.
Some of these doors look like they haven't been opened in eons.
Eons.
Well, we're glad to hear that. And we're just doing our usual Sunday brunch, chilling. Asmodeus.
That's weird. They've got a devil holding up the holy water bowl. At least I think it's a holy water bowl. That's weird.
It is weird. I can honestly say, in all the time I went to church, I never
Those
saw
angels'
anything like
gestures,
that.